The tulips look great. Have you ever wondered how your dog experiences the world? Here's what she sees. Not terribly interesting. But what she smells, that's a totally different story. And it begins at her wonderfully developed nose. As your dog catches the first hints of fresh air, her nose's moist, spongy outside helps capture any scents the breeze carries. The ability to smell separately with each nostril, spelling in stereo, helps to determine the direction of the smell's source, so that within the first few moments of sniffing, the dog starts to become aware of not just what kinds of things are out there, but also where they're located. As air enters the nose, a small fold of tissue divides it into two separate folds, one for breathing and one just for smelling. This second airflow enters a region filled with highly specialized olfactory receptor cells, several hundred millions of them, compared to our 5 million. And unlike our clumsy way of breathing in and out through the same passage, dogs exhale through slits at the side of their nose, creating swirls of air that help draw in new odor molecules and allow odor concentration to build up over multiple sniffs. But all that impressive nasal architecture wouldn't be much help without something to process the loads of information the nose scoops up. And it turns out that the olfactory system, dedicated to processing smells, takes up many times more relative brain area in dogs than in humans. All of this allows dogs to distinguish and remember a staggering variety of specific scents at concentrations up to 100 million times less than what our noses can detect. If you can smell a spritz of perfume in a small room, a dog would have no trouble smelling it in an enclosed stadium and distinguishing its ingredients to boot. And everything in the street, every passing person or car, any contents of the neighbor's trash, each type of tree, and all the birds and insects in it, has a distinct odor profile telling your dog what it is, where it is, and which direction it's moving in. Besides being much more powerful than ours, a dog's sense of smell can pick up things that can't even be seen at all. A whole separate olfactory system, called the vomeral nasal organ, above the roof of the mouth, detects the hormones all animals, including humans, naturally release. It lets dogs identify potential mates or distinguish between friendly and hostile animals. It alerts them to our various emotional states, and it can even tell them when someone is pregnant or sick. Because olfaction is more primal than other senses, bypassing the thalamus to connect directly to the brain structures involving emotion and instinct, we might even say a dog's perception is more immediate and visceral than ours. But the most amazing thing about your dog's nose is that it can traverse time. The past appears in tracks left by passers-by and by the warmth of a recently parked car, or the residue of where you've been and what you've done recently. Landmarks like fire hydrants and trees are aromatic bulletin boards carrying messages of who's been by, what they've been eating, and how they're feeling. And the future is in the breeze, alerting them to something or someone approaching long before you see them. Where we see and hear something at a single moment, a dog smells an entire story from start to finish. In some of the best examples of canine-human collaboration, dogs help us by sharing and reacting to those stories. They can respond with kindness to people in distress or with aggression to threats, because stress and anger manifest as a cloud of hormones recognizable to the dog's nose. With the proper training, they can even alert us to invisible threats ranging from bombs to cancer. As it turns out, humanity's best friend is not one who experiences the same things we do, but one whose incredible nose reveals a whole other world beyond our eyes.
Okay,
Hi,
next
Bob.
slide.
Morning.
So as you see, these beautiful floppy-eared, drooling partners of ours have some unique abilities. Um, that we're taking you through some of the training that we give our handlers, our law enforcement handlers, and search and rescue handlers. So to understand how a dog's nose works and the capability of it is just mind blowing. I've been doing this about 39 years training dogs, and I still get amazed at the capabilities they have. They're trying to create some computers and things that can do the things the dogs can, and so far they've been unsuccessful. So we wanted you to understand some of the things and the capabilities of the dogs. So we've seen how the dog's nose work. We see how they've been made. If we can go to the next slide. We're going to talk a little bit about human scent and how wonderfully we're made. So the way and they're still studying human scent. They've been studying it since the CIA started in the 20s, and we're still doing research on it now. We don't know everything about it yet, but we're still learning a lot. We know one thing for sure: each person's scent is specific to them, and as we grow, or as we sweat or live our daily lives, we have two main glands, apocrine and the eccrine glands, and they're putting off sweat. And once that sweat hits our skin, it interacts with bacteria and then sloughs off the body. We also have the sebaceous gland, who is doing the same thing. But what we found about sebum, once it comes out of the gland there, it becomes a solid. And that solid stays in the environment for numerous, numerous days, sometimes months. So that we teach our dogs to utilize all these things that's coming off the body. There's like 666 cells a minute coming off your body. We also have a thing called volatile organic compounds that's coming off our body as well. And there's a number of anywhere from like the mid 30s to the mid 60s of volatile organic compounds coming off. Each person's a little bit different. So the dogs take all of this information in their wonderfully developed nose, and they're able to say, okay, this is Katie that I'm looking for, no matter whose odors else are smells. My wife always tells me, when you're talking with ladies, say smells, not odors. So their smell is specific to her. So the dog knows that the only way they're going to get their reward is if they trail all the way to Katie to find her. So we take all of this information that we have here and we put it together uh, for our program to help our dogs. Okay, next slide. So I don't know how many of you are old enough, because a lot of the groups I train now don't know Pigpen from Charlie Brown. But if you look at Pigpen, that's how we look to our dogs. And that's coming off, and that's some of the things that they use to find us when they're doing the trailing. Also, there's also a primary, secondary, and tertiary odors. The primary is something that's stable with you throughout your life. It's kind of like your DNA. It's going to be consistent. Secondary is going to be things that are things you eat, medicines you take, things along those lines. And tertiary are things that are like soaps, where you live, things that you're going to pick up odors from where you live, where you work. And that all of that together makes the scent picture for the dog of whoever you are at that point in time. Now we can actually change some of those things. Like, for instance, you can change where you live, you can change what you eat, you can change the deodorant, but the primary scent stays the same. So even if you make all these changes, that dog's still able to take a scent sample that we may have taken 10 years ago. And we've actually tested 11, and we're getting ready to test 12 years, that the dog's able to trail to that person with a scent that old.
You mean
People
11,
ask me,
11 or 12 years, that one that you actually collected, or is that what you mean?
could you repeat that?
So like, are you talking about that 11, 12 years ago, you guys collected their scent, that idea?
Correct. We did for
Wow.
research.
Wow.
And for it to make it sound feasible for people, uh, I'm guessing a lot of people here have had cedar chest with your mom's or grandmother's stuff in there.
Yes.
So when you open that cedar chest, you smell mom or grandma, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's in a way that's not forensically collected. So and that's with our nose.
Okay.
So that just gives you a little bit of how this works. Scent's pretty tough. You can't blow it up. You can't burn it. Uh, I'm guessing most people think that there's things that would wash away or get rid of scent. So usually ask this question: how many of you think that when it rains or the person gets in the water that we're done with our trails?
Well, I think it might even enhance it.
It actually does.
Yeah.
We actually had a young man in Sumter County about a year ago go missing. He was on the spectrum, 16 years of age. They had one of our dogs and they had one of our scent kits that we're going to talk about in a few minutes. He had been missing a couple of times in the past, so they had a kit on him.
Good.
He went missing. They brought this 10-month-old puppy we had out, and she trailed about a quarter of a mile till she hit the Willacoochee River, and then she swam over a half mile till she found that young man standing in neck deep water alive.
Jeez.
And I still get chills. I was
Mm.
actually consulting on that case with the handler.
Mm.
They actually won the Jimmy Rice Trailing Team of the Year for that trail.
Fantastic.
But we've tested it with it. Just human scent is just so tough, and it's always something that's pretty available. If you've been there, there's scent there, so we can work with it. Okay, next slide. Well, tell I've done this a few times. This is a case we had in Liberty County where the dog was actually able to find a weapon in the water hours later, trailing the individual. So water actually
from the shooter's
dogs
scent.
do. Moisture actually helps us. So next
From
slide.
the shooter's actual scent, from their hand holding the gun.
Yes.
Dang.
Yeah, the dog actually dove into the water and started swimming circles, which was a unique behavior for him because he did not like water. So they came in and sent a diver in, and they were able to find that.
Wow.
Next slide. We've actually done some testing on burnt material as well, and they've done this in San Bernardino, California, as well as this video here. So, and they actually used this system yesterday on a case in North Carolina to find a man that was suicidal who tried to burn his house down, was unsuccessful, and then he ran away. So they came in and through the ashes were able to collect scent and trailed him and actually found him on a camera. And so they're actually actively working that case right now. Mm. But it just shows you the capability of it. This is a vacuum we have that in case you don't have one of our kits, that we can actually vacuum the VOCs and the scent to a pad to give to a dog. This young man right here is from New York. He actually worked 9/11. He's in in North Carolina now working a dog, but he challenges everything I tell him. So he wanted to try this. Okay, we'll just move on to the next slide. And we're going to make this PowerPoint available to you if you want to watch all the videos all the way through.
Fantastic. Julie, are you able to click that slide? There you go.
One more, please. Here we go. Good. Move back one. There we go. And this is from the University of Colorado. Can you hear it?
Not yet. Is it just me or can anybody hear it?
I can't hear it. Can y'all?
No.
So what do you...
Can you guys hear it?
Not yet. Try again.
Bigger eddies and inside
there we go.
smaller eddies.
Start again.
Back it up.
Okay, hold on. I'll back it up.
Learning how air carries odor into our noses. Air isn't static, as you might think. It's turbulent, like a river.
One of the ways of thinking about turbulence is it's a collection of rotating pieces of fluid that people often call eddies. And there's bigger eddies, and inside those eddies are smaller eddies. But the point is that flow is structured. It's not, it has an element of randomness, but it has a high degree of structure.
Smells are tiny chemical molecules that get swept around by turbulent air. But these odors can also travel underwater, where creatures like fish and hermit crabs can smell them too.
And it turns out that the physics of flows in air and flows in water are exactly the same.
So Grimaldi's team measures these odors underwater. They start by pumping 5,000 gallons of water through a 50-foot-long tank. Next, they spread laser light into a sheet that slices through the water, and then finally comes the dye.
And so what we're doing is we're using a special kind of dye as a surrogate for the odor. And this dye has exactly the same types of properties that an odor would have if it were in this flow. but it has a special property that if we shine a laser light on it, then it fluoresces.
What they find is odor moves like taffy. It's constantly being pulled and stretched into thin filaments. If you've ever caught a whiff of a bakery when you walk down the street, you've picked up a filament. In some areas, odors get dragged away, leaving a blank space. This blank space is called intermittency.
So that was one of the things, for years in the canine world, we were always told everything worked like a comb, which we found is not true. And working a dog, I've known that for years. I just didn't know how to put it into words till we saw this. And so this really helps our handlers when their partner is doing their job down there to understand the movements and the things that they're doing
Mm.
to create successful trails and find individuals that need our help. Okay, next slide. And one of the other things is that we found that it moves like an octopus. And one of the, I'm guessing most people would think, Teresa, I'm going to ask you this.
Sure, sure.
If a person goes missing and I'm there 5 minutes after, or if a person goes missing, I'm there an hour after, which one do you think is easier for the dogs to do?
I mean, common sense would think 5 minutes, but then part of me thinks that the longer the trail is, the more bits will get left. So I'm not sure.
It is actually something that's been there a while because we have so many environmental factors that are influencing the human scent, especially
Okay.
right after it's a person's walked through there. You got wind, you got cars, you got the heat, all those different things. And that makes it a little more difficult. Whereas as time goes by, usually those things settle in the environment and makes it easier for our dogs.
Ah, cool.
And the oldest trail I've done has been 15 days. A couple at the Bureau are like 12 days old.
Wow.
They've done a study in Germany where 3 weeks they were able to find people during the research, the dogs were able to successfully trail 3 weeks after they laid the trail.
Gosh,
So
seems impossible.
it's
That's
pretty
cool.
amazing. I still get amazed at watching these dogs do this. So one of the things that they're teaching us now, or things that we're bringing on board, is that the human scent's kind of like an octopus. You heard it talked about being a taffy style. Well, as you see the tentacles from the octopus there, as it ages, those tentacles fold back in, so you get a much different sight or scent picture for the dog. It's much clearer and much more compact. So I told you we're going to our school today. All right, so this is a group that these are the groups where we really focus on at-risk populations, which I'm sure a lot of the individuals y'all serve are in this at-risk populations. Autism, 50% of those kids go missing before the age of 17 at least once. We think the number's higher because it's usually a couple times before the parents report it. Dementia, 60% of those go missing. Teens, we're seeing this thing across the United States. 12 to 15-year-old girls wanting to commit suicide. Suicide's large with our military population as well. And then the trafficking component that we deal with is also, we think that's just a big city issue, but it's hitting rural America as well. So we work all these different cases. You see the young lady there in the right corner, she was 87 when she was diagnosed with dementia. She lived with her husband. A year and a half later, she got a scent kit, and we'll talk about those in just a minute. She'd gotten a scent kit from us. Her husband went out on the front porch to take a break. He comes back in. She's gone. They called the dog in that we had trained and had a scent kit. And she was about, when they found her, between a half mile and 3/4 of a mile in some very thick vegetation. And it only took them 5 minutes to find her. And she'd been missing a couple hours. In the picture in the middle there, you see the little green hat. That young man had autism. I actually worked that case myself, and we found him after he was been missing about 6 hours when we put out. Took us 12 minutes to find him, and when we found him, He was standing in water up to his chest, and the next step was over. You see the big guy there in red? He was with us. He stepped around the young man to make sure he didn't go any further in, and he went up to his neck in the water when he stepped around. So, just a few of the cases where we've been very, very successful bringing these people back home safely. Next slide. Oh, my wife is a Six Sigma black belt. So one of the things in the K9 world that didn't exist was data analysis. So we're bringing that to it. And we're actually looking at what people do when they go missing as well. Most of the cases for our law enforcement partners, 60% of the times they utilize this stuff's on missing persons, 40% is criminal.
Mm.
And you'll see the numbers there on the right. Alzheimer's, autism, suicide, runaway, endangered is usually one of those four categories. People dealing with mental health issues and medical issues. So we're tracking that and looking at the data to see if we can get any nuggets out of it to help us with our response to make it better. Next slide. And then we look at the length. One of the things that we've been able to find, we were looking at the data, my wife was, and we would think the longer a person's missing, the further away they are from the home or where the last place they were seen. We could not correlate that information. It seemed to be very consistent that they're under 2 miles most of the time. If it's over 2 miles, there's usually a vehicle involved. So we've been looking at all this data to kind of help law enforcement with this response. It's a very difficult thing that they do when they're looking for missing persons. There's so many variables. So we're trying to give them as much ammunition as we can to make these searches very successful. Okay.
So this is kind of just an understanding. So how do the different law enforcement, like if this is going on, how does the sheriff and the police and the FBI and you guys, or what are you connected to? Which part of that are you connected to?
Well, one of the cool things about us and what we pride ourselves in is with my background in law enforcement and my wife's background in providing care for individuals, we speak both languages. Sometimes it's the different languages when you're
Yeah,
talking.
for sure.
So we can stand in the gap for both to kind of communicate, okay, here's what they're needing, here's what they're needing. And for instance, in Jacksonville, we're working with the Elder Source there, and Jacksonville Sheriff's Office and Elder Source are actually at the table together right now talking about things. With a lot of times as law enforcement officers will find these individuals and they have to go back a week later because they haven't put any resources in the hands of the people to kind of stop this from happening, to mitigate the risk.
Mm.
So one of the things that we're doing with our kits and our trainings and our conversation is we're bridging that gap and we're having that conversations at tables. So a law enforcement officer gets there, finds someone that's dealing with some kind of dementia. All I got to do is call Elder Source and they can help get resources to the family. So we're seeing that and we're helping.
So is
bridge
Elder
that gap.
Source the Jacksonville AAA, Area Agency on Aging? Does that sound right? Okay.
That's correct.
Okay.
So that's one of the things that it just kind of organically happened, and we've been really proud that that's happened like it has. So, all right. And then we have different methods for collecting human scent. We use our scent kits. That number now is over 40. And 100% of the time when they've used one of these scent kits, the person has been found. We have not had a report where a kit was used and the person wasn't found. And that says a lot because there's so many different levels of training with these dog teams. We have a vacuum, and then we teach law enforcement other methods, the absorption and the swipe. Direct is where you actually use something that is in the home or on the person. But if you look back at Pigpen and you think about in a community or in a home, I have a loved one go missing, my odor is going to be all over that. So I'm walking around looking for that individual or somebody else comes in to help me look. Well, their odors going to be in that area too, their smells, and that could contaminate those things. So we're data driven. So anything we can do to reduce the chance of that dog picking up a non-target odor is the reason we use our scent kits.
I was just talking to, so when I was telling everybody about your presentation, I was mentioning, we all see the TV show where they go running in and they grab the toothbrush. Well, right off the bat, the person grabbing the toothbrush has now just put their hand on it. So now the dog is going to be lost. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no wonder this is so important. So I was just telling the story about this.
Yeah, we actually, law enforcement investigators will go in, and there's this thing called low card principle. When you go into an environment, you're taking stuff, and when you leave, you're taking stuff with you as well. So even somebody that's there working, if we don't do it forensically, then the dog could pick the wrong person. So that's the reason our kits are so important, and everything we do is to minimize the chance of that happening. Okay.
So what does SEKR mean? I missed that
That's
part.
the vacuum. That's the
that's the
vacuum you
vacuum.
saw
Okay.
earlier. We have
Okay.
a vacuum that we use to collect scent. So each area has a lot of the resources are in the state of Florida. Not everybody's going to have a kit. The vacuum and the absorption process that we use have research and forensic science behind it. So those are the ones we recommend. Does the old grab the pillowcase work? Absolutely. But it doesn't work 100% of the time.
Right.
And if it's my kid I'm looking for, it's your kid I'm looking for, I want every chance I can to be right when I come out.
Yeah, because mama did the laundry. She folded the pillowcase. Dad put the pillowcase on the pillow.
Absolutely.
And the kid's head on it. So now you've got a completely lost dog.
We have a process we call dismissal. So we try to, if we know there's other people's odors on there, and that's the only way that we can do it is by using direct, we have them walk in front of the dog and they smell them and say, okay, Teresa's here. So, but the problem with this, I worked a case in Alabama where I dismissed over 17 people.
Oh, that's on one item.
On one item.
Oh, that's impossible. Wow.
And I'm like, okay, I'll just use my dog's working capability a lot on those 17 dismissals. And if I'm dismissing 17 people, there's a good possibility there's somebody I didn't get. So,
sure.
But that's the gist of I'm a canine handler that wanted to get better and bring more people home. Okay, next slide. Just a little bit more about the scent collection methods. Some of them are criminal. We are showing all these trails to show you that we're looking at all the data, the percent of trails. You can see the half mile up to 3 miles. We do this to kind of reinforce the training for the handlers and all that, but we wanted you to see it too, so that you can say, okay, this is more than just throwing a dog on the ground. It's really complex. There's a lot of moving parts in here. So we're making sure these handlers are being able to run these trails that are, we should be operationally be able to do 2 to 3 miles with a team to be able to find somebody. Okay, next trick. So this is just another, skip to the next one. So we've been looking at data, and these numbers have recently changed. We review our data every quarter. The dimension, the length of the trail, you see it from a quarter mile to a mile and a half. That number was 81%. Now it's 96%. So
on the
that
autism
tells us as responders,
on the dementia group, 96.
96% of them were less than 2 miles from the home. 93%. This has been pretty consistent for us over the years with children on the spectrum. So we're telling law enforcement, pour your resources into that 2 mile.
Focus tight. Yeah, I see that.
Next slide. And also water. Water's very dangerous. You see the orange there, that is children on the spectrum that have drowned.
Wow, that is a huge amount.
It is. We work with the Autism Society of America as well. You see this also with individuals on that are dealing with some kind of dementia. They're both drawn to water. And one of the things that we found too, especially with our individuals with autism, is they're usually running to something instead of running from something. So
Mm.
just changing those kind of things for our law enforcement responders, just change the way they're thinking, has
So
helped
like,
make us successful.
so like the category of store, restaurant, and attraction, because where our folks have often been found, our group home folks, they're often found at a 7-Eleven. That's like where they're regular, it happens a lot. And so I'm surprised that it's as low as it is compared to these. I would have never thought that the water would be that high. That's both terrifying and amazing.
There's a group out of Palm Beach is doing some studies too we've worked with, or if there's water within 100 yards of the house, that you need to be checking that first, because they're seeing some data that's pointing that the water is usually very, very close to the home or a place last seen.
We got a question from Simone. I helped
Sure.
find a dementia client who was found 6 miles from home. Oh gosh, having walked in the hot summer weather. Would the dog have been able to follow the 6-mile scent?
It probably taken more than one dog, but yes.
Okay. Is it because it wears them out? That
It
why?
does. They work so hard.
Okay.
We have to watch them because they will go until they drop. We actually had a dog in North Carolina that actually happened to. He had 2 missing kids, trailed back in July, I think it was, in North Carolina, in some of those thick, nasty woods up there. He found both the kids, but he didn't survive.
Oh my gosh, you're making me cry. Oh
But they want to do they want to.
yeah. Wow.
But we were very, very thankful that those 2 young men were alive and safe at that time. So. And this was the case I was talking to you about earlier. This is Deputy Mata and Indy and the young man. And if you'll see, they're both drenched in water. The young man was completely naked when they found him, and they took their shirts off and brought him out. But that's a 10-month-old puppy that did that. And this will give me an opportunity at this point in time to kind of talk about our scent kits. We're in a lot of counties. A lot of sheriff's offices have these available through a appropriation bill that the legislature's approved for over the last 6 years. So this is the kit. It has evidence grade jar, which is really, really important. Everybody see that? It has a 5x9 sterile gauze pad, gloves, a tamper-proof strip that goes on the side of the jar. Once you've completed, it goes there to let us know that it has been tampered with.
Nice.
It also have a label that's, you fill this out for the canine handler so they'll know the information they need. This has been designed for them. And then the final component of this, which has been very, very helpful, is a flash drive that has an individual preparedness plan on there. I heard you say that a lot of them will end up at 7-Eleven. You can put that information in here for the law enforcement. You can put a picture in here. It gives, we expect our law enforcement responders to be able to do everything. But I've been doing this a long time now, and probably 90-something% of them have never had any formal training on looking for missing persons. So we have worked with special victims units across the United States and groups like the Alzheimer's Association, different. So we have information on here that you pre-collect, and it's on here. Because I've worked a lot of cases, and I've had moms and grandmoms and caregivers give me bad information because they're dealing with the trauma. They're dealing with guilt. They're dealing with trauma. So when I'm questioning them, they may remember things really well from a week ago, and that's the information they give me.
Yeah.
With this, that's already prepared. And that has been so important for us in being successful with knowing when to start, where to find them. We found people by just using this because of information, like you said, 7-Eleven or
Yeah,
say,
where he's been before. So
right.
Nick is asking, and Nick, by the way, is the executive director of AGE, the whole reason why we're all together today. Nick is asking the question. It says, do you put the flash drive in the jar? I would guess not, right?
No, you put them
So
in the box in here
in the
with them.
box. Okay, that makes more sense.
So
Okay.
they have that. And then when law enforcement comes in, you just give them this. We are a trauma informed kind of group as well. So our dogs, when they find the individual, any dog I've trained, sits and becomes a comfort dog at that point. And you can actually put music on here, the calming stuff, just whatever
Could
helps
you
your
put
loved
could you
one.
put like mama's voice and
Right.
say, Petey, you're okay. Just we're on our way to get you. The police are there to take care of you. And could you do that?
Yeah. Actually, I had a gentleman that came down from New York. He used to run marathons and he went missing here in Tallahassee. So we get there, we're talking with the wife, and she says, Once you find him, tell him Kathy sent you and you'll be fine. He won't fight or carry, but if you don't, you may have to fight him. So when we found him, he got agitated, and I remember what she told me, and I said, Kathy said she sent us. And he come up and put his arm through mine, and we walked over to the patrol car. So there was nothing, no more trauma was experienced by anybody that night
Wow.
based on that information.
My missing guy, I would have put a can of Coca-Cola in your hand, because if you just showed it to him, he'll do anything. A cheeseburger and a Coca-Cola, he'll do anything you want. So that's what I would have put on that USB. Wow, this is cool. Got another question from Robin. This is cool. How long does the scent last in a jar? Forever, or do you need to redo those jars every so often?
So our studies right now are up to 10 years,
Hey, nice.
documented. We've done some testing on 11 and 12 years. We don't know how long it lasts, to be honest with you, but about every 10 years, if it's opened, get another kit. They're pretty inexpensive, and they
And
work good.
I thought there was some kind, is there a registration process with the kits, or how? No,
No, there's not.
okay.
Now,
There's
some
not.
of the agencies, we do a lot of best practices. Some of the agencies will put it in their system. So, for instance, say you're providing care for someone, and you get one of the kits. Say you're in St. Johns County. St. John's does this, so they put it in what they call their CAD, because they have 3 bloodhounds. They said, so Teresa's got a scent kit for her mom, and it's on top of the refrigerator. And so if your mom goes missing, it pops up in that CAD that's already there.
Okay, well, this is super timely. So Robin says, I was educated that you put them in the cabinet above your refrigerator if your registrar with the county response team to keep the bracelet number and the county information, everybody knows it's on top of the refrigerator, which makes total sense, because you guys know you put either the red or the yellow envelope on the refrigerator with DME and DNR and medical information. So, all law enforcement is focused to go to the refrigerator. It makes total sense. Okay. All right, we got another question, but I want you to go on about the kits a little more, and then I'll ask this one.
Yeah, so you can put these in the refrigerator if you want to. Don't put them, don't freeze them. That's an old system that used to be in place, and it actually changes the molecular structure of the scent. That just prolongs the DNA if you need a DNA sample, because DNA is part of our scent, and there are times when that's been valuable. It doesn't have to be. The kits that we're testing that's 11 and 12 years old have been in an area in a closet. We do ask you not put it where the sun's ultraviolet rays are hitting it all the time. That will kind of break things down. So
that makes sense. And so because of that, Simone is saying, are the test kits subsidized, or where do you get them and how much do they cost? So you got that information?
Well, we sell them retail to individuals for $24.99.
Okay.
But we do a lot of work across the state. A lot of the sheriff's office have some available that they've been able to get through the program. bringing the lost home. We have some AAAs, and
Yes,
let's see.
Cindy, I don't know if you guys know, up here in Orlando, in Longwood at SIG, which is Senior Intervention Group, Cindy Kingston, she actually has a bunch on her shelf.
She
That
does.
she got through some fun. Yeah, Paul, you know, Cindy, that's how I found you actually. So, and she gave me one, and I have my little box sitting right here, ready to
Yeah,
use.
you got one that's a little bit older.
I got the older style one. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Cool. And then Robin says Marion County has response team and the training, and they give them for free. So I think I've heard that's pretty commonly true in many sheriff's departments. But you know, I started talking about this the other night on Zoom, and from a guardian point of view, if you're a guardian and you have a client that has the potential for elopement, and you do this and you put this in your guardian plan, that shows so much forethought, and you are thinking so much about this ward's needs, and you put it in the guardian plan that you've done the scent kit, you know what county, you have all the information. Listen, if your judge knows what he's reading or your clerk knows what you're reading, they're aware that you are a guardian who is looking for solutions to every possible problem before it happens. You know, I talk a lot about guardianship. Guardianship is way too much in the defense. I want to play offense as often as I can.
I'm the same way. And it's, I've got a master's in emergency management and homeland security, and mitigating risk is extremely important.
Yeah.
And that's all we're doing with this. We're mitigating the risk.
Cool. So cool.
And
So
we are going into Miami-Dade as we speak. We just went into Brevard. Um, if you, we're in Lee, we're in Charlotte. I'll tell you a story that just happened last week in Charlotte. If you look at our Facebook page, I love these stories because they make me feel so wonderful. Handler there's got a bloodhound named Zoe. Young lady has dementia. She walks away with her cane looking for her pet. They find her cane and her shoes on a dock. Zoe trailed her to that area using her scent and would not leave the dock. So they finally back up and shine the light under there. She's laying in the water under the dock on her back, alive.
I know
We
why
had a
you do
10
this work, man. I know why you do this work. Wow.
We had a 10-year-old just yesterday, was dealing with some issues, living with grandma and grandpa. Can't get into all the particulars, but they brought the bloodhound in, trailed directly to her, and she was in a pretty dangerous situation when they found her. So just got story after story after story.
Fantastic.
And that's happened all within the last week.
Wow.
We're at like I said, 950 some odd reported finds to us right now.
So Paul, for us, any of us who live in a county that does not yet have this program, what can we do to encourage that to happen as citizens? What can we do to push that along?
Well, sometimes law enforcement is not the easiest to change. So I would recommend trying to get into them and have them reach out to Sheriff Mina from Orange County. They're looking at Carla Radka, who runs Senior Resource Alliance. She's bought kits and they've had some funding to help with dogs. They have 76 people that they've been able to help find just in that area.
All right. So do you have a list does your Facebook site show the list of what counties you do have so we know which ones to target for you?
I can get Joe Blanton to send you one, but
yeah,
we're, if you're on the East Coast, from Nassau all the way to Flagler, you're covered. Every county there's got it.
well, we've
Putnam,
got, on this call, we probably have someone from almost every county. So we definitely want to know the counties that don't have it because, you know, from a consumer point of view, we can push on this side to push the sheriff's department to get it if they can. And that way, you know, we get every county in Florida covered, which would be phenomenal.
That's like Marion, Sumter, Hernando has some, Orange, Brevard, Seminole, Charlotte, DeSoto, Lee, Hendry. I'm trying to think who else. Oh, in the Panhandle, we have Leon, this area up here is covered with Leon. Baker has it. Escambia. Escambia's had a lot of success in the last year. I think the one handler is almost 16 people she's found, just one person. So,
Are those usually officers that are trained by you guys but work for the sheriff's department generally, or that's mostly how that works, right?
it is. Part of the appropriation bill that we've been able to do is we go in and we usually have 2 or 3 trainings a year, and we bring all these teams together, have these conversations. We have individuals come in to talk about caregiving as well, and so that all this is happening together. And then we really push out the training component of this. It's tough stuff to do. It's very, very difficult, but we're seeing a ton of success.
So one of our problems in this industry is how tech is and isn't working. So for example, about 10 years ago, the whole idea of the help I've fallen and I can't get up alarm on the wrist or on the chest was supposed to work. It was supposed to have all these geofences. It was supposed to feel falling and respond to falling. It was supposed to respond to too hot, too cold, too wet. And we went through, I don't know how many of them, maybe 4 or 5. We had 2 particular clients which were very actively adamant, want to walk and be outside, walking by every body of water known to man. And so in guardianship, we're constantly trying to balance between 2 really hard standards, which is substituted judgment, which means you're going to do what they would do anyway, or best interest, which is you're going to do what's safer for them. And we balance that knife blade all day long. So what I'm wondering is, now that, you know, tech is getting a little better with this, between the Apple Watches and any of that stuff, does any of that come into what the dogs are searching for? Is there any connection between the tech and the dogs?
Well, some of the things that we have been able to do, like for instance, in St. Johns County, they have the bracelets.
Yeah.
And so the person had got outside the range of the bracelets.
So it's got a geofence of some kind.
Yep. So what they ended up doing, they brought the bloodhound in. That team that handled the radio waves got in a vehicle behind the bloodhound. And as a bloodhound got closer, they were able to pick them up by following the bloodhound team. So we recommend you use as much as you can without restricting people too much. You know.
Yeah. Well, I
also,
know the tech
a
is
lot of
starting
people
to
with
work
dementia,
now.
and kids on the spectrum, they don't like that bracelet on.
They
And
do
the
not.
battery runs dead, or they stick it in the water, or they pull it off, and all that. We're using a very, very old technology in a new way. So
Perfect. Okay, so it is exactly 4 o'clock. So let's start with, anybody wants to ask a question, they can raise their hand and ask it. You can put it in chat. Anybody want to talk about some of what we've learned today or ask more questions? I think I'm current on chat.
Was there any other slides we didn't get to that I need to click through?
I'm not sure. Is there another one there behind that?
There's a video.
Oh, yeah. Show this one. This is
Okay.
Orange County,
Okay,
and this is actually a deployment. These
Can't
next
hear.
two.
Can't hear if we should be.
It's real quiet on my end too.
I mean, we can read the words.
Right. So
Okay.
this is Roscoe from Orange County that the Senior Resource Alliance funded. And this is a missing dementia lady.
Nice.
And that's Roscoe and his handler. You see the kit there.
Yeah.
This is actually body cam footage from the officer on the missing persons case. It's one of the neighborhoods in Orange County. And there she is.
There she is sitting in a doorway. Oh no, poor baby.
And then the dog becomes a comfort tool for her. See how she.
Sweet.
Aww.
Sweet. Mm.
And I think we have one more. This is the same dog that found the 10-year-old last night. This was another child they found earlier in the year. And these are put out by the sheriff's offices themselves.
Well, she wearing black. I think I got her. Hey, are you okay? We're looking for you. You want to say hi to Patriot? We're gonna bring you back home. Say hi. K918, Patriot.
I get chills every time I see this one.
Hey, okay?
Aye.
Mom, okay?
Look how happy he is. He found the baby. Wow, that's cool. Wow, that's cool.
That's really cool. Do you want me to finish the rest of the video? Seems like it's a little
No,
long.
that's fine. It just takes them back to taking her back to her mom at that point. But
Nice.
you can click to the next one. I think that probably, that's my contact. If you need kits or you need to reach out, just let us know.
So we've got multiple people, Paul, saying, thank you, amazing. This is so cool. Thank you for doing this work. Thank you for all of us. And I sure feel the same way. I told Paul real quick my story of my introduction to dog scent. My mom worked at a police station as like what we would call a receptionist when I was like 10 or 8, and it was in Ohio. And so she got to do some of the presentations. So there was a warehouse and like 50, 55-gallon drums, tons of them. And then they brought a lot of dogs through. I don't remember the head count, but maybe 6 or 7. They brought an eyedropper, one eyedropper. And whatever the stuff was, they put one drop into one of the 55-gallon drums and walked away. And every single dog found it as soon as they walked. They walked them down the 55-gallon drums. And I'm like, one drop in one. I just, to this day, and I'm 64 years old and I still remember that. It was just the coolest thing ever. So, all right. So let's see. One of the most amazing classes we've ever had the privilege to attend. Thank you. Lots and lots of thank you. So what I want to make sure, Paul, is what we as a group can do. You've given your time to us, and I want us to help do anything that will help you. So if we're going to get the list of all the sheriff's offices that you're in and not in, and if we reach out to them, kind of encourage, what else can we do that helps you guys grow to all the counties? What else can we do to help?
Just continue doing what you're doing, taking care of the people you're taking care of. That's so amazing. We get to, that's one of the cool things about us, and I get choked up every time I talk about this, is we get to go in and be there with people in really tough times. And there's nothing like bringing one of those, that deputy you saw a while ago called me crying as he walked that child out.
I bet.
So,
I bet I would be too. I would be too. So the other side
maybe we can expand it a little bit more in Florida. I mean, talk to your local
legislator
senator or representative.
Okay. City council and everybody, huh? Pretty much
Rachel Plaken from Seminole and Scott have been, they have pushed the bill forward these last few years. This year was a little bit different, so we don't have quite the funding we had the year before to get as many kits out, but we're hoping we'll see a change this next year.
Okay. Nick and I went to high school with Scott, believe it or not, in Key West.
He got this started in Florida.
I thought so. I thought this was his thing. Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so guys, I'm checking chat. Any other questions? Any other folks that need anything? 2 things will happen. One is, like always, Kate will send you your CE information. And second, when Paul sends us all those videos, the full videos, I think Kate will forward them to everybody who came on this so you can watch the full thing. This is recorded for CE. So if you like missed the first 10 minutes or something, when Kate gets it up on the website, you'll be able to see it and get the full CE when you answer a couple questions. So that's how we pretty much do all of these. So Paul, so what you understand about us, just so you know what we do. So I told you there's 2 groups. There's the public guardians, which generally are not-for-profit entities who become the guardian to folks who are considered indigent. And then professional guardians, which are people who do this as their job, appointed by the courts, but not employed by the courts. And they're all over the state in every kind of circumstance, every kind of client, except we really only talk about adults. Nobody in general deals with, we do sometimes deal with minors, but that's very rare. We are talking about people who are adjudicated either incapacitated in a guardianship or something called a guardian advocacy, which is a guardian of a developmentally disabled person. I have something I want from you. I need a connection to a great law enforcement training organization, because one of the concerns that the guardians have is, and this is not related to the dogs at all, this is we have trouble in many sheriff's department and more police department where they don't recognize letters of guardianship, court order, authority. And by the time we're sitting there screaming and yelling at the cop that we need help and then we're about to get arrested. So what we're looking for is, I want to start making a training module for law enforcement, but I need to know who out there. I did a little bit of research with FDLE. I have a little bit of concept, but think about who I should be talking to say, okay, your folks on the ground and maybe the sergeant level, not too far up the food chain, because way far up the food chain actually doesn't matter. It's more with the street cops. We want them to know that someone's got a letter of guardianship from the courts. That means they have the authority to tell them, yes, put her in the car and take her to the Baker Act. And we have a struggle with this in many kinds. So think about who I should talk to, because that's one of my projects for 2026.
And I'd highly recommend maybe doing, if you look at our website, you'll see one where we've done a video through Florida State University. It actually has an officer finding an individual with Alzheimer's and just working through that process with them.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So,
Surely do that.
A video like that to educate.
Okay.
Because I think that would be, you know, all the new ones especially they got that phone in their hand, and if they can spend 30 minutes looking at something, the education component would be, and I'm sure that's what's missing. There's the educational component.
I'm glad you said that, because I was thinking more conferences, but yeah, I'm glad you said that. So we will do that. All right. So I'm going to check chat one more time to see if I missed anything. Anybody else have a question or a comment or anything? All right, Paul, you guys, if you want to hang around, I got a couple of announcements to make. Paul, you can stay, but thank you so very much. And we really appreciate this.
Well, it was an honor to speak to your group, and the services you bring to all the citizens of Florida is just amazing. So
thank you so much. Thank you.
Have a good afternoon.
Thank you. Good afternoon to you. Just quick update for the coming year. We just finally got the date set up for a four-part Medicaid series. Tracy, as you all know, and some of you guys might or might not know, Denise at Aged, that deal with the whole Medicaid stuff. We've been working on this for months. We finally got it figured out, and that'll be coming out in January. I don't have the dates yet, but there are four in-depth Medicaid trainings about a week and a half apart. Of course, you'll have CEs. That's coming. Our next roundtable, because I don't see very many of you guys coming to my roundtables. You're making me nuts. I want more faces at the roundtable so we can talk more stuff. So our next one, remember, they come at 8:30 in the morning on the second Tuesday of the month, 3 o'clock in the afternoon on the third Wednesday of the month, 5 p.m. on the last Wednesday of the month, and then like today, the fourth Thursday, that's when we do a training like today with the CEs. But please, guys, look for opportunities to come to our peer roundtables. We just talk shop. There are no CEs. It's not for that. But like yesterday or a couple of days ago when we had it, there was a whole conversation about Social Security changing how they're doing audits by a lot. And I think you would have wanted to hear that. So please attend as many of these as you can. You can do them in your car. Just listen. You don't have to talk. You don't have to be sitting in front of your computer. Attend as many roundtables as you can. You should get tons of emails from Kate telling you the next one's coming. And by the way, we have changed the email to make it easier for you to sort. So now peer stuff will come from a guardian peer email address versus an aged, because people couldn't find stuff. All right. So I see a chat here that says, oh, Julie put up our website for the peer group. So it's up there. You guys can go there anytime. Remember, on that website is our library, especially for new guardians, lots of checkoff forms and sheets, and Irene Roush has donated stuff. Shauna, guardians have been around forever, have put stuff in there. So it's a library full of documents to help. All right. See if there's anything else we need to do. It is 4:12. Anything else we need to do, guys? Any questions? Nothing? I'm checking. I'm trying to give you a minute or two to find your unmute. Okay. Thank you guys for being here. This is without fail, without anything. This is the best one I have felt. Right now my heart feels so warm because it just makes me have some hope, because sometimes, damn, it's hard to have hope. So, all right, you all take care. See you guys next time. Bye-bye, all.